Yo, calculator, we are live, man. What's happening?
Greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. We said it last week, first week, wild card. This was fantasy wild cards for, 90% of leagues out there. So either you have some depressed people out there or you have some fired up people that are still on. And this is a very important episode because I'll be dog. We're going to talk about it. The injury bug rears its ugly head at one of the worst possible times. But again, we'll get in that into the show.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I guess we better get to it. 401 Sports World Fantasy Show coming right on up. Welcome to the 411 Sports World Fantasy Football Show. He's the calculator. I am Mr. 411. We thank you all for tuning in, watching, listening. Please do the following.
Subscribe, like, notify, and definitely got to have notifications because due to certain schedule situations between me and Mr. 411, we try to get it out before waivers hit. So, but yes, folks, we're out here late for you, so hopefully you're notified. Hopefully hey, I'm telling you, this is when it counts though. This is when you stay up late, a little later, to see what waivers might go through, to see what things you might have to do. Because I know in 60% of my leagues, waivers hit. Not necessarily midnight between the a lot of the Yahoo leagues, which is what I am. Usually those hit early Wednesday morning, and when I say early, before people wake up. So yeah, so just we stay up a little late. We'll try to navigate through these injuries through the notes that we get up to this point, so you can try and make the moves, necessary moves out there.
Absolutely. All right. And we thank Blackjack TV for the simulcast of the show and all of our shows. Tune in tomorrow, Wednesday at 8:35 p.m. for After the Game. The ladies will be in the studio. You don't want to miss it. There's also going to be a debut of an R&B artist, and so there'll be the debut of one this particular artist's song, and we will debut it tomorrow night. So check out After the Game. Calculator. It is time, man, to get into the news and notes of the
Yeah,
fantasy
and I just
football
want.
week.
That's right, and I just want to apologize to the folks if I'm not my usual bubbly self, because even though I have advanced in my playoffs in pretty much every league I was in, I did so on the back of one Jalen Hurts. He is the news that has come out. Sprained shoulder. What's kind of aggravating is they have such a comfortable league, pretty much clinched the division, 2 game lead up on home field advantage, so they can rest their star quarterback for the playoffs. So if there's any type of ailment, most likely he's not going to play. So what does that do? We'll hit it on the waiver wire at the time, but injury number one is the number one scoring person in all of fantasy football. Jalen
Hmm.
Hurts will most likely not play this weekend. Another couple of other ones. Damian Harris, we thought he would try to make it a go. He could not make it for the New England Patriots. And Ramondre Stevenson, same situation. And they were both questionable, but Ramondre Stevenson said, I can play. And Ramondre Stevenson played well, 170 yards, although we don't know what the doghouse could be with that lateral fiasco in New England for the people that watched that game. Just one of the most baffling moments I've ever seen, especially from a New England Patriot team. The not only lateraling it back and always it's like you're trying to go forward, but then you're going to keep going back, and then you know lateral it to the other team, and who steamrolls Mac Jones as the final defender to go for the touchdown. Not very smart, but anyways, Ramondre Stevenson should be fine as long as he avoids the doghouse. He's definitely going to be in your thing. Jeff Wilson still out with that hip injury. Mustard showed that he was able to run against the Bills. If Mustard gets a full load, just like his name said, like his namesake, he is a must start. Damian Pierce, as we know, placed on IR. Do not go and start Rex Burkhead or anything. We saw what would happen in a Damian Pierce less backfield. It all went to Royce Freeman of all people. But guys, if they don't get the ball in favorable situations, you're not going to get no points. I'm not placing my fantasy playoff chips on Royce Freeman. Jonathan Taylor, that's the big issue. Another big game. Yours truly, when we go in the 4-1-1 league, I survived the Jonathan Taylor injury because one catch, 12 yards, out for the game. Word is he is going to uh, you know, he's out for the season. And then we'll talk on the waiver wires on how to navigate through that situation. We'll go to the wide receivers. Equinami and St. Brown, concussion, exited the game, concussion protocol. Denzel Mims, don't worry about it. Concussion protocol, he's in there. Now, Romeo Dobbs finally got on the field, actually had a fairly high snap count and leapfrogged Lazard as the number 2 receiver. Let's keep an eye on that. However, again, if you've made it this far, you most likely do not need a receiver at this time. Kendall Hinton did not play. Cortland Sutton, of course, did not play. Nico Collins, again, did not play. Traylon Burks, one of the longest concussion protocols I know since this has come out. He is still out and do not know when he'll be back. Brandon Cooks again did not play. Julio Jones did not play. Okay, Miko Hardman, who's been out, was IR, cleared IR last week. They held him out a little bit longer. Kind of knew they wouldn't need him against an undermanned Houston teams, but he should return week 16. Tyler Lockett had surgery on the finger. They said it's good news, but do not look at him playing this week in week 16. So Tyler Lockett is out again. I'll try to navigate through that on the waiver wire on his replacement. Hayden Hurst, the surprise, did not play. I was surprised at that. And Dallas Goedert, same thing. Both did not play. I thought both of them would play. Goddard, I think he is going to suit up a little bit more, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well in the waiver wire section on how he could affect your decisions. Ryan Tannehill, he briefly exited the game, first quarter. The reason I know this is I was playing against him, so I kept an eye on him, but he did return. All that does is when Ryan Tannehill comes back in, that turns into a Derrick Henry show. So Derrick Henry owners, be ready to fire up your Henry shares because if you played him last week, a lot of times you were going to the next week. Colt McCoy, the next quarterback to go down for the Arizona Cardinals. He wasn't effective when he went in there, but even the whole team has effective. This affects your DeAndre Hopkins shares and so forth. So keep an eye on that. If the third stringer Lindley is there, I would not have much faith in that. Russell Wilson concussion. I hear he should be back next week. Although Ripien not that bad, didn't look that bad against a decent defense in Arizona. Got Denver the win. Kenny Pickett, we called it on Crossing the Lines. We said Mitchell Trubisky would be good enough to beat Carolina on the road last week because of their defense. Trubisky, as long as he doesn't implode, he can manage enough to win. I'm thinking Pickett will be back next week. I think they gave him a little extra because it was his second concussion this year, so they gave him a little bit extra time. Mike White did not play. Word is he is already out for Thursday night, so you will get some more Zach Wilson and his playing next week. So some news and notes. I just jotted some down for the people, Mr. 41, so I'll share them. We have an exhibit of Jalen Hurts on what happens with Jalen Hurts. Yes, you love those running quarterbacks. They get you because if anybody watched that game, Jalen Hurts was actually close to negative points right after the first quarter. 2 interceptions, no yards rushing, hardly anything through the air, very bad. So what happened is they got behind, and then Jalen Hurts said, "What the heck? I'm going to run the ball." and started, and then 2 rushing touchdowns later, he's already, averaged what he's pointing. And it was great, but there he is. I love the picture of Mr. 411. He gave Jalen Hurts the thumbs up, because even when he had that, what looked like a 68-yard touchdown to AJ Brown, they called it back on review, said he was down at the 1. So what did Jalen Hurts did? It's like, okay, rush in for a third touchdown. It
Yeah.
was beautiful. So that's one of those and we'll go over them. Yours truly. I have the Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, AJ Brown trifecta. So I said I'm going to try and get some of that. So I wasn't too upset about that. But anyways. The bad thing is that did hurt Miles Sanders a little bit, because it was one of those things, and it's just a weird situation how that was going. Just sometimes that is the benefit and the cost benefit analysis of a Miles Sanders. If Jalen Hurts is getting all those rushing touchdowns, Miles Sanders is not. But you got to, but you live by Miles Sanders, you can die by Miles Sanders, right? All right, Bears, David Montgomery. Here's the thing: Khalil Herbert is designated to come IR. However, do you really think they're going to give him half the snaps fresh off of an injury, especially with David Montgomery playing very well right now? So, yeah, David Montgomery, never going to be a flashy option. Fields' athleticism subtracts from Montgomery's ceilings, but Montgomery definitely worth a flex option in the fantasy playoffs. Falcons, hey, they basically switched their quarterback and did the same thing and run the ball.
Yeah.
However, but here's the thing, folks, for Patterson owners and Algier owners, Huntley, the third guy out for the season, torn ACL, but Baltimore run defense, very tough, especially with the Roquan Smith roam in the middle. So yeah, I think it's going to be 3 yards in the cloud dust. No game script needed for them. They're still going to run the ball. They were down by 14 points with the Saints, and it worked. Saints were down. They started getting it, and we saw what happened when they put the ball through the air. Ritter was inaccurate. Should have had 2 interceptions that game. Inaccurate and a fumble when they did get the ball. So a lot of times they like to play the part. Juwan Johnson, folks. Okay, he's a great tight end streamer. Because it is boom or bust. He's over here. Here's his stats. He's over 12 PPR points 4 of his last 5 games. So when you look at tight end wasteland, that's not bad rolling with something like that, especially especially ever since he come off the 2 inactives due to injury. He has been the pass. They drafted his name escaped me, but they drafted one guy to be there, and then they switched him. And then Juwan Johnson, they actually drafted him. He was a wide receiver out of college. They needed another tight end on the thing. Juwan Johnson bulked up. He's playing it, and he looks great. People remember Marquez Colston back in the day, another guy that
Yep.
was a wide receiver, tight end. And then guess what? He developed into such a good wide receiver. They just put him back at wide receiver. It was great.
Yeah. Kind of
DeAndre
reminds me of
Swift, hey,
Shannon
I don't know
Sharp.
what. Oh yeah, exactly. And then Lions running back situation, I'm not touching it. I'm not betting fantasy playoffs on DeAndre Swift, because in theory, step in the right direction, right? That he started, but he had low volume, with no scoring equity. I don't know how you can play him with any thing. So I say, if we have other options, stay away from your Swift, your Jamal Williams, especially on the road. Lions do not like playing on the road. I mean, they do keep it a little bit more conservative, but you're almost taking a 3 touchdown hit on their offense overall. And if you don't have Jared Goff getting them down into the red zone, you don't have Jamal Williams smashing them from the 1 yard line. And DeAndre Swift just doesn't get the volume you need, especially playoffs on the line. Panthers, nothing there. DJ Moore, he's one of those guys that, hey, if you had a guy that's going to be out, I have a situation in one of my leagues. I did advance, thank goodness, but I have DJ Moore and Gabe Davis. Take your pick on which one you want to go with that, So but he's one of those
Yeah. Tough.
guys. You start if you need him, but it's one of those situations. You could say it's matchup dependent, but they're playing the Detroit Lions. This is a DJ Moore. This is a DJ Moore start, and the reason I say that is they are. It's the they're more stop the run than the pass. So
Yeah.
you can get your stuff via that way. And then Cowboys, Noah Brown showed out. He, that for those Gallup owners, beware. I mean, things are, looking good for Noah Brown. So the only guy I'm starting as a pass catcher out of the Cowboys is CeeDee Lamb with again, big games on the line. Zay Jones, third big game since his week 11 bye. However, I think that could be the end because they got a pretty tough matchup coming up with the New York Jets. This could be a Sauce Gardner type game. Sauce Gardner, he doesn't move around a lot, but the Jets employ a defense. It looks like just ask the Detroit Lions. We on this show we said do not start Jared Goff this weekend because the Jets they do what they do is they take Sauce Gardner, they take away the number two wide receiver, and then they double the main guy. So this looks like they're going to put Sauce Gardner on Zay Jones, and they'll just double Christian Kirk, and then hey. See, they'll say, let Marvin Jones Jr. beat us, right? So good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Chiefs. You, are they ever going to get a lead to where they can just pound Isaiah Pacheco the rest of the game? But for some reason they love to turn the ball over. And then what happens if they're in a shootout? Jerick McKinnon is fantasy gold. He is basically DeAndre Swift without the expectations. Yes, the Chiefs offense put McKinnon in positions to succeed. So hey, if you have the stomach and can take the zero, we know what his ceiling can be because it's been that the past 2 weeks. Texans with Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks out, Chris Moore getting plenty of looks. He's kind of like your poor man Donovan Peoples-Jones type deal. Kind of one of those guys that's not really a top receiver, but he's getting enough work to make himself valuable. And then
Yeah.
Cardinals. I'm telling you, James Conner can be a fantasy winner because he is there 92% average on the past 3 games, 92% of snaps. Yes, they don't have a quarterback. But they do have, but it don't matter because we talked about Najee Harris, volume, volume, volume. As long as James Conner is healthy, he gets the snaps and he gets points through the air and on the ground. And anytime he gets a touchdown, that's like bonus. And hey, Denver running game looked good. We had the little pound with Latavius Murray, and I had a little couple dump offs to Marlon Mack. So hey, Marlon Mack might make our waiver wire, Mr. 411. And yes,
We'll
the
find out.
Raiders. Yeah. I apologize to all those Devontae Adams owners for the Raiders. 3 games in the last month, not so good. But, I think this week is going to change. I think they're going to be in a script where they're going to have to throw against a Steeler defense. And we know the Steelers pressure. What does pressure do? Pressure means you do not have time to look. Well, if you don't have time to do your reads, Carr's first read is always Devontae Adams. So I think Devontae Adams is going to get peppered this weekend. So have no fear. Devontae Adams, if you were able to survive yesterday's dud, better things to come. Titans, hyper efficient Derrick Henry. And guess what, folks? Derrick Henry is playing Houston this week. And 3 things in life, Mr. 401: death, taxes, and Derrick Henry shredding the Houston defense. And the
Yes,
Chargers,
sir.
yeah, Mike Williams, he did okay with a late catch, but for 90% of the game was effective. But you know what? We always said Mike Williams draft with caution. He is one of those lottery guys. So again, if you survived with Mike Williams, I put him in there again. This could be his boom week. And yes, the Bengals, kind of an odd game with the things. Burrow completed 27 passes, 200 yards, but man, he was getting those touchdowns. You turn the ball over to the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow capitalized. I love that. And hey, we'll go to the other side of the game in that team. Brady gets there with volume, right? Offense is a mess. Evans somehow continues to be limited due to the limitations of Tom Brady. But Godwin, strong start every week. And look, Lenny Fournette is back. He got the work. He's got the offense rolling now, and he's one of those guys. If you give Lenny The snaps, he's kind of like a poor man's James Conner. You know what I'm saying? He can catch the ball, he can score touchdowns, and he looks like he could be good to go. So if you have Lenny Fournette, fire him up for the playoffs, folks, because I think he's going to be good down the stretch.
Okay. And calculator, we gotta give a shout out here to Big Fish Little Boat. We definitely appreciate Big Fish Little Boat hanging in there with us tonight. One of our loyal viewers, and we definitely appreciate Big Fish Little Boat. Look at the comment that is out there
Yep.
for. It says start Gardner Minshew,
I
book it.
and well now to big fish little boat, you got to do something first. You're probably going to have to pick them up on waivers, and then start them. So yes, it is a two-person process. You pick up Gardner Minshew, and if you can get him, because I have a feeling he will be a hot waiver priority. This tonight. So yes. I feel very good. He was in my waivers to pick up for all those Hurts owners. Gardner Minshew is there because now of course, you're not going to get the rushing upside with him. But Gardner Minshew showed before he can throw. And one thing that Philadelphia has is a lot of weapons on the outside. And now Goddard coming back, that's just another weapon. Yeah, I think Minshew, and we looked at their matchup with Dallas. Dallas is not that scary defense. Yes,
Mm,
it's hard to run on Dallas. Well, guess what? Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. Steffi Graf, hey, we started calling him Steffi Graf. He started blowing up. Hey, I'm not going to take the jinx off of him. I'm going to keep it going because he's making up for it. He's looking like he's the real deal. But yeah, the last two games, Houston was able to throw on Dallas. So yeah, that is the one weakness. If you can do those little quick passes, and you can do that. Oh, thank you, Mr. 4-1. And you tell me there's not a resemblance. I think he might be
they
that might be a
twinning, man.
yeah, it is what it is. Doppelganger's delight, right there, right? But but you threw me off, Mister Four. Oh yeah. AJ Brown, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard. Miles Sanders can catch the ball. Heck, they got Gainwell, Boston Stockton. They got tons of playmakers. So yes, if you have Jalen Hurts, he got you. Thank him for getting you where you. And let's see if Gardner Minshew can bring you forward. Because yes, he's probably one of the top. Like I would start a Gardner Minshew over a Derek Carr. Derek Carr is available in a lot of leagues, but Derek Carr has a relatively tough matchup in the Steelers. So yeah, if I have like a Gardner Minshew going on the road against the Cowboys, I like that better than a Derek Carr going against the Steelers. So yes, I would take Gardner Minshew over a lot of quarterbacks that are out there and might even be available. Like I don't like Zach Wilson on a short week, even though he's at home because those it's going to be cold up in New York, Mister 411. But yeah, I mean a lot of these it's going to be a cold weekend for a lot of those people. So I think one of the few guys, if Purdy, he has a pretty Purdy has a decent
Purdy,
matchup. Yeah, Purdy
pretty
matchup.
good matchup.
That's right. He's at home. He does well at home. The Commanders show that they could be wearing down after on that hot steel. But yeah, I like Philadelphia because you know what? Another thing that's going to happen when they play the Cowboys, it's indoors, folks, so you don't have to worry about the weather. So yeah, I do like Minshew this week. So yeah, thank you, Big Fish. I think that's a very, very good idea.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna jump into the studs, and here are some studs from Thursday night's matchup.
Yes,
Um,
and I want to say comment on Purdy. That is a great line, but if you watch that game, if you were the one not at the bar where the guy's looking for the game, if you were able to watch that game on Amazon in your home, what I saw is Brock Purdy had maybe three good passes. Two of them went to a touchdown, but two of those touchdowns, it was one of those, I call them the Peyton Manning special, where he puts it in the right place and he puts it to where his receiver can do all the work. Because let me tell you, George Kittle, those two touchdowns were beautiful, but it was pretty much all Kittle. So even though Purdy is, did his thing, just beware. It wasn't a Purdy game. Christian McCaffrey
Pretty,
showed, yeah,
pretty good job.
it's on the top of my brain, Mister 41, since I started that. Christian McCaffrey, 1 touchdown, 100 yards, 6 receptions, a typical 30-point game for Mr. McCaffrey in a lot of scoring formats. So yeah, he just business as usual. Geno Smith, t- anything over 10 points against the San Francisco, I think is pretty good. That's why he's on this list, folks. Geno Smith did admirable against the number one number one pass defense in the league. So kudos to you, Geno Smith. And then Noah Fant, anytime you get a touchdown for a tight end, it puts you on the stud list.
Yep. Okay, that was a Thursday night. Disappointed for me because
Mm-hmm.
Seattle lost again, but they still have a little bit of hope. But we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, and we'll get into the waiver wire because I'm certain there's going to be a Seahawk that needs to be picked up. But we'll get a couple more
Oh yeah.
studs in.
That's
Josh
right.
Allen, Zay
Oh,
Jones, and
Josh Allen
some
on
guys that are in
Saturday.
Kansas City.
That's right. Josh Allen, another just ho hum performance against his Dolphins. He kind of put his stamp on the division. He said, "We're going to wrap up the division, not have to worry about it." So they clinched the division pretty much. It was last night's victory over the Miami Dolphins. Zay Jones, it was geez. I mean, Dallas said we're not going to let um, um, Kirk beat us. So they said, okay, Zay Jones will beat you. So it was a great guy. If you had Zay Jones, congratulations. Jalen Hurts, again, a terrible first quarter, but just look at those and see what a guy can do when he catches fire. He's one of those guys that can just explode at any moment. And thank you, Jalen Hurts. I thank you for all the work you did for us. Mr. 4-1, if these people check out our draft shows, we were touting Jalen Hurts and a lot of our predictions because
Absolutely.
we just like the situation, and he paid off in a big way. Jerick McKinnon, again, game script, shootout. If KC is going back and forth, which they let Houston hang around, and with a couple turnovers, they Isaiah Pacheco, checked out after that last turnover, and Jerick McKinnon took it from there. Just another phenomenal back-to-back 30-point performances. Hey, Mr. 401 might have to start putting McKinnon in our mini drafts, depending on
Yeah.
the way it's going. And Patrick Mahomes, another day, another A when it comes to a performance, because it was an A plus, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, another one on the ground. It doesn't get much better, as Patrick Mahomes is about as steady as it gets on the stud list.
And
Duds.
there's some duds, my
Oh
man.
yeah. Anytime you have a stud, you also have a dud. Devontae Adams. He's just an odd game. He was going against a Belichick team that knows how Josh McDaniels thinks. We always talk about Belichick shutting down, most of the time shutting down the best weapon, and they did that. Matt Collins had the better game for the Raiders. Mark Andrews, this is more of a Huntley deal. Mark Andrews is really hoping his buddy Lamar Jackson can return shortly. And word is Lamar Jackson should be back next week. Dalton Schultz, this was just a result of Noah Brown exploding and CeeDee Lamb being an alpha dog. So Dalton Schultz felt the brunt of that. Miles Sanders, this was a product again of Jalen Hurts hogging up. Well, we said that when we said that in the draft show with Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, what's going to hurt Miles Sanders' draft stock is, well, first of all, they have two other solid running backs in the backfield. But even if Miles Sanders dominates running back shares, he's got to share red zones with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts when he gets close. So Miles Sanders has paid off his draft stock over one. It's just a shame that he waited till the fantasy playoffs to lay the egg. And oh man, Pat Freiermuth, the old Mitchell Trubisky led goose egg. So Pat Freiermuth wants Pickett to come back more than anybody. I can tell you that.
Oh my goodness, I'll tell you. And Mitch, well, we won't say it. But
Yeah,
anyway, Mitchell Trubisky.
Trubisky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good thing there. I mean, Pittsburgh, just on the real football side of things, I think the schedule's really been kind to them lately.
Oh yeah, yeah. They just in time, and then they get the Raiders. Although they do have the Ravens next week, but yeah, I think they can squeak out another win, and at least have not have a bad taste in the mouth. But it's going to turn out that Pittsburgh Baltimore game could be a big game because Baltimore they could be falling out of the sky. Oh, waiver wire, Mister 411. I like the
Yes, sir.
list. However, Mr. 411, I do have
Oh,
there is a difference on my list. And the reason
okay.
is Deion Jackson, I flip him with Zach Moss. And the reason I flip him with Zach Moss is due to game script. Very rarely are the Indianapolis Colts going to have a 33-0 lead on a team. So they're not going to take try and pound the ball because Jonathan Taylor is basically Zach Moss and Deion Jackson combined, right? He can catch and he's a big body that can pound. So these guys are going to be strictly timeshare. If they're going to be in a shootout, back and forth, Deion Jackson's your man. And if you look at on their schedule, they're playing the Giants. I don't see them getting a 33-point lead on the Giants. I think the Giants, that could be one of those things where they're going to need. I think Deion Jackson will have a higher snap count, and I think Deion Jackson will outscore Zach Moss in PPR leagues. Touchdown only leagues, I like Zach Moss because when they get in close, they are going to put the big back in there. But if you're in a PPR league, folks, and PPR leagues are most of our audience, I go with Deion Jackson in this one. But yes, both of them are worth pickups, and both of them are considerable flex players slash injury replacements if you have or if you're struggling at the running back position. We went over all those injuries earlier today, but yeah, I like both those things. DJ Chark again. The one thing I don't like about DJ Chark is this week because again he's on the road this week, and we said Jared Goff now he has two touchdowns outdoors on the road. He will be outdoors again, and yes, believe it or not, it's going to be cold in Carolina as well this weekend. This polar vortex is hitting the nation, so I'm scared of all these outside conditions for these outside stadiums. But I do like DJ Chark if you get him week 17. So you might want to pick him up. Hope you can withstand the weather elements that are going to be coming this weekend and save him for next because next week, Jared Goff is in the friendly confines against the Chicago Bears. So yes, DJ Chark is a worthy pickup, but might put the little stand, put a little stop sign on not this week, kind of do a little stash. And when we're in the final four, folks, for a lot of people, you play for next week. You got to play for next week. Yeah, you're not going to play next week if you don't play this week. But hey, that's if you've been carrying these three defenses like yours truly has done. Now you can just take that defense that you've picked up early in time for the playoffs and then play that guy and then drop your other two defenses that have bad matchups to get a DJ Chark. Marquise Goodwin, yes, love it, Mr. 411. Marquise Goodwin, the reason he's in there, Tyler Lockett, finger surgery, Goodwin, track star speed, right? Taking over for, going to get plenty of snaps, taking over the number two. And guess what, folks, could be in a shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs. Even if they get behind, hey, we know Geno Smith, don't we, Mr. 4-1? He don't mind slinging the ball. And I'm telling you, the Kansas City defense is a lot more forgiving than San Francisco. So Geno Smith, and I think, hey, Fowler and DK Metcalf owners, congratulations. He's going to be a target hog. Elijah Moore, love it for the mere fact that Jacksonville, you can pass on Jacksonville. And Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Zach Wilson, the only thing we got to worry about is that cold weather and hope there's not a lot of high winds because Corey Davis got hurt and Mims got hurt. So pretty much Elijah Moore is forced into the starting lineup. Tyler Algier, I just like him. Sheer volume. However, again, going to be a tough matchup against Baltimore. Beware. But hey, if you get him, you're going to get a lot of target because the number three guy who usually takes 6 to 10 carries, he's out. So they're probably going to be funneled to Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson. They're almost a dead 50-50 split. Juwan Johnson, we said it earlier, 4 out of his
Yep.
last 5 games, tight end 1. And anytime you can get a guy that plays out wide as much as he does, you got to like his chances for popping in a touchdown every now and then. And not a bad matchup. I mean, the Cleveland Browns, they did well against Baltimore, but Baltimore was down, starting third receivers or starting third quarterbacks and just out of sorts. I'm a Saints fan. I've admitted it on the show. I'm not afraid of it. Andy Dalton has looked good, and what I mean is, his numbers. But if you've actually seen him, he's reading defenses, he's processing information quickly, and he's hitting his guys. They should have beaten Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago. There were 3 drops, all on third down. One of them would have sealed the game. Jawan Johnson, there's not going to be a problem because of quarterback, because Andy Dalton is playing some of his best ball. Darius Slayton, again, I'm surprised he would be out there. He's actually rostered in 58% of leagues. But if he's out there, he's got a juicy matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. We saw what Michael Pittman Jr. was able to do against the Minnesota Vikings. People can get open in that zone. And Jahan Dotson, a rookie, that great rookie. However, again, you're not looking at him this week because he gets the number 1 pass defense in the San Francisco 49ers. You're kind of looking at him against the Browns in championship week. So, yes, another one of those guys where you can get him and stash.
Absolutely. And that is the waiver wire, and it's key. So check out that waiver wire. We want to make sure we get that information in to everyone because tomorrow morning is a big
Yes.
it's a big day for a lot of fantasy managers.
Yes, and also, folks, I do want to put those out there. Look on the waiver wire and see if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have been dropped in a lot of leagues. They're my sleeper defense this week, Mr. 4-1. And why do you say that? They're playing the Arizona, who's going to be the quarterback, Cardinals. So, so if you have a Tampa Bay defense, or if Tennessee's out there, Tennessee has a great matchup. So, yes, I love stuff like that. Oh, what is this?
Well, this is Fred from from the Scooby Doo,
yes.
and he's he's trying to figure out who the quarterback is in Arizona as well.
I love it, Mr. 411. I love it. Hey, shout out, hey, Mr. 411. You got to get. I'm going to have to do a recognition to our producers. That is great. Great work by our producers putting that out there. Got to give a shout out to the producers out there.
Oh yeah, they do an awesome job.
They do a great job. Can't say enough.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, on that note, it's time for the listener league.
Yes. So thank you, producers. I was about to say I was going to do a little same time on the side, let you know it was out there. Thank you very much, guys. As you can see, Mr. 411, you picked a bad time to have a thing. You went against a hot team. We'll just go over y'all's matchup since you were the number 1 seed. The Camel Clutch, the quarterback kind of let you down. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he actually did you, but Olave, just don't know what the deal was. They got a big lead, and then they didn't decide to pass the ball. Knight, Detroit, silently their defense, run defense, pretty solid. They were passing the ball game. NTN, good game against Dallas. That was a good start by you. A lot of people. I will tell a story about one of the leagues. I was actually playing a team, Mr. 411, in one of my leagues. True story. And the reason I can say this, he sat Travis Etienne for Deontay Foreman. And for people that don't know this was a scoring system where you get minus fumbles. Deontay Foreman had minus 1.5 for this guy when he had Etienne on the bench. And yes, Mr. 4-1, that is what allowed me to win my matchup. So, hey, I'm not complaining, a lot of things because he made all the right plays. But that's what I'm telling you, folks. That's why you got to listen to this show. That's why we want you to come in with your questions. I guarantee you, if this guy had listened to our show and came on and said, who do I start, Etienne or Deontay Foreman, I would have said Etienne. And Mr. 4-1, I did help Carter's Peanuts on another league because he has Deontay Foreman. And I said, I don't like Deontay Foreman because Chuba Hubbard's, kind of thing. But, that's what we do. If you're a friend of the show, if you listen to the show, you come and ask us questions. We'll give you advice. We would do what we would do is our thing. And Mr. 4-1, I love Derrick Henry, and he put up a fight. I mean, But again, your studs let you down, and that's the
Yes.
only thing. And if we go for the bench players, the Lamar Jackson is really what hurts you in this situation. You have Lamar Jackson, that's another 30, 35 points that he
Easily.
easily, especially against Cleveland. Oh man, he owns Cleveland. So yeah, this was a thing of an injury at the bad time, and that's why you need to be on the show, because if you have Jalen Hurts, we're trying to give you information to pick up a quarterback that can try to help you to the next level. And Carter's Peanuts, he had a all, but look, he got Fryermuth, as well, but he was able to get scrape 19 here. Latavius Murray of all people, waiver wire a wonder, and yours truly. I'll take the blame for this. I dropped Latavius Murray as soon as they signed Chase Edmonds. I didn't want the 3-person backfield, and sometimes that's why you pick up a guy and hold on him, because then he could become a workhorse. But Tua and Tyreek Hill, a good Saturday night. So I feel bad for you, Miss 401. You had a great. I just want to say a great season. Number 1 seed. You again. That's why injuries play a big part. That's why sometimes fantasy football it is a game of luck. There is a lot of luck involved. I took Chuck Town's best. I avenged an earlier season loss. When he got lucky, he didn't get so lucky with Amari Cooper this week, because his Amari Cooper, you live by Amari Cooper, you die by Amari Cooper, folks. And
Yeah,
Amari Cooper got him,
unfortunately.
9.8. And this was the matchup where I saw Tannehill went out. He came back in. DeAndre Swift again. He put him in there, didn't do it. Chuba Hubbard. This guy had nads, Mr. 4-1 to start Chuba Hubbard. But when I looked at his bench, it's like, you started Chuba Hubbard, he really didn't have anybody else he could start. So it was like, he went with what he got. Although his big match now, if Chuck Town, I don't know if he listens to the show, Mr. 4-1, but if he does, I would have advised him to start Tom Brady over Tannehill, even though he was in a matchup against me. Wouldn't have made a difference, because, again, Jalen Hurts went nuclear. A.J. Brown, nuclear. Dalvin Cook. Uh,
Yeah.
if people don't realize, I did not draft Jalen Hurts or Dalvin Cook, but that's why you also make trades, folks. I did the trade. If people watch this show, I did the trade with Lacey. I gave her Patrick Mahomes, CEH, Marquise Brown, to get basically Jalen Hurts. I hated to give up Mahomes, but I had AJ Brown to begin with, and I love doing the combo, Mister 4-1. I've always been a combo guy. For those people that know me, I was very upset though, because the Saturday night game, for people that don't listen to if they listen to CTL show, I was in Biloxi this weekend. I was out eating with the family. We were dining on some good seafood on the Gulf Coast, and they had the NFL Network, so they put the game on for us, and I saw Josh Allen or Jonathan Taylor go off. So Jonathan Taylor goes off, guys. I had 3 points between Jonathan Taylor and Dalvin Cook going into halftime. So I said, I'm not going to watch it anymore. We finished our show. I decided to go to the casino. I wanted to go to the sports book, and I really wanted to get into that Baltimore Cleveland game and stuff like that. But then when I got there, Dalvin Cook started going nuclear, and Kirk Cousins just started throwing the ball. And then when he threw that 50-yard screen pass to Dalvin Cook, it saved my day. That basically said, that got me going, and then I never looked back. Kelsey again did his thing. Miles Sanders, yes, he was a dud, but hey, didn't need him. When Dalvin Cook goes nuclear like that, and AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, you don't need it. Now, I'm going to need these people. I'm going to need Miles Sanders this week to step up. I'm going to need Buckner to step up. Buckner, another missed field goal. That's why they went to overtime. Houston, yes, our Kansas City. I specifically got that defense, to get them. Matter of fact, Carter's Peanuts, your opponent, Mr. 411, sent me an email dogging me for picking up the defense he wanted for matchup against you. He said, "Why you need?"
Yeah.
He said, "You already have 2 defenses." I said, "Man, I'm in the playoffs too, Mr. 411 or Carter's Peanuts." So, but yeah,
Right.
but yeah, I'm going against Carter's Peanuts. It's a 2 versus 6 seed. I think it's going to be a good matchup, because again, I'll be going without Jalen Hurts. Usually I will show you waiver wires I'm doing on this show, but for my own selfish purposes. I already got 6 waiver wires on there, and I don't want to give any more information to Carter's Peanuts because I know he's listening to our show. So I want to have it kind of like I used to play games with our buddy Larry. I always said, I got waiver wires. You just don't know which ones I got. So, but yeah, I got a couple waiver wires out there because I gotta replace Jonathan Taylor. I gotta replace. I got people on my bench because if you look at my bench, I don't have another quarterback. So but there's other quarterbacks I'm picking up out there. But hey, Jonathan, I Dobbins. He's showing up. He might go into my starting lineup, Mister 411. As you see, he was on our waiver wire. I got DJ Chark. Maybe I have him. I'm saving him for the championship. Well, this is our championship. So DJ Chark might not be there, Mr. 4-1. He might be one of my drops out there. So, yeah. And I assure you, these defenses will be dropped because I got other guys on my mind for defense as well. So, but yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's a listener review. Mr. 4-1, I know we'll go over it next week when we do our show as a recap. But I've really enjoyed the show, and I'm looking forward to playing in the finals against a friend of the show, Carter's Peanuts.
Oh yeah, that's congratulations to both of you. Congratulations and to advancing and getting that far. Man, what a season so far. All right, let's transition over to the mini draft.
Yes, sir. Oh, I got the wrong wheel, Mr. 4-1.
Uh-oh.
So
We got
I
to
got
get
to
that
go.
wheel of names up.
I got to get the wheel of names. We were on the listener league, and I had the is this not it? That's not it, Mr. 4-1. Let me
Uh-oh.
see. So bear with us, folks. I know I have it, Mr. Mr. Oh, there it is. It's the second one. There we go. Okay. So here we go.
Well, here we go. All right. So the wheel of names is going to spin here. And what the calculator doing now is establishing our draft order. That's 1 through 4, 4 through 1, 1 through 4, 4 through 1. That is called a snake draft.
And see, I'll just pull people over just to show them what we did like last week. Mr. 4-1, it was a close one between me and Lacey on that one. But what hurt Lacey was the Stephon Diggs, a dud. I was able to get Jamar Chase and Hawkinson. But yeah, I canceled out her quarterback and so forth. What hurt you, Mr. 4-1, was you had was Herbert, your quarterback. An odd kind of dud for him. He was going against the 31st ranked pass defense in the Titans. So
yeah, I thought it was a great choice.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. You get a 30-point performance from him, which we thought he could at least get. You win the league. You win the week because you had one of the best running backs, and you had the best receiver, and in our case, right behind Kelsey, the second best tight end. So you had a great draft, but Herbert's underperformance let you down this week.
All right, I won't draft him this week.
You won't draft him this week, Mr. 4-1. All right. So have you explained the scoring system?
Well, that's what I'm going to do next. Okay. We're getting the draft order together. 1 through 4, 4 through 1, 1 through 4, 4 through 1. That's the snake draft format. And as you can see, calculators on the board. But I
don't know how it does it, guys.
It's a miracle. But we're going to use a scoring system based off our listener league, which is a PPR, points per reception league. And what we also do, and maybe other leagues need to follow suit, is that we like to highlight the workhorse backs by adding a 0.25 per carry in there. And by the way, if you have a quarterback that rushes well, that comes in handy too. So we like to reward the workhorse backs. And so we have a 0.25 per carry as well as our score system. And it's 6 points per touchdown with the quarterbacks in passing, which is also interesting as well. And so that creates that excitement.
Yeah, and Mr. 4-1, you mentioned the Russian quarterback. That's why we're so high as far as our league when we were doing these draft shows. We love running quarterbacks. We said we like the Russian. They're rushing, even though they might not get a lot of passing. The rushing creates such a solid floor that they can build upon that. So that's why we love those Russian quarterbacks.
Yes, and we also are playing for a juicy steak dinner.
Oh yes.
By none other than Angelica R. Roberts. Catered food by Angelica. So please check her out if you are looking to have your food catered or just have something to cook that made for you. Because I mean, I've done that before too. 478-396-2810. 478-396-2810. Angelica R. Roberts. Catered food by Angelica. The
Yes.
winner of our mini draft league will get the juicy steak dinner.
I always like it when there's something on the line, Mister 411.
Yes.
So
Yes, indeed, Patrick.
and because I've been fortunate, because everybody knows that a lot of times when I get the first pick, I go with the top tight end. I actually went away from that last week, and it paid off. So this week I'm not doing Kelsey again this week. I'm going to go what I think will be the highest scoring. I always like to get the running back first. I'm going with Derrick Henry against the Houston Oilers. So Derrick Henry and Mister 411 had him last weekend. It did good for him last week, right, Mister 411? He did good for you last
Really
week.
did. Really
Yeah,
did. Really
yeah, he did.
did. Herbert, I'm gonna have a one-on-one with him because
Yeah.
that was disappointing. But
Yeah,
yes,
because you win the week. If you get an average performance from Herbert, you win. You win last week.
yeah.
You had a very good draft last week.
And who doesn't want a steak, a juicy steak dinner? Um,
Absolutely.
yes. So is who's next on the board,
It's
Patrick?
you're up, and they're all available. Everything's available except
My
Derrick Henry, of course. So,
goodness.
yeah.
Yeah, so since I can't get Derrick Henry, I'm just gonna go ahead and as I'm trying to scour through the schedule here, I'm just gonna make it interesting. Okay, so Monday night on the Monday Night
Uh,
Delight, two of my favorite athletes of all time, two of them now. Now my favorite basketball player is Isaiah Lord Thomas III from the Detroit Pistons. But 'cause I always tried to mimic him out on the courts. But I'm gonna go with Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. They're two of my favorite athletes.
oh no, you're not, Mr.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the running back for the Colts this week, Deion Jackson.
Mr. 41, I assure you, you would have gotten Deion Jackson with your last pick if you'd waited. so, because I don't think anybody would have picked them. But hey, yeah, you're kind of like Larry. You just pick your players and worry about it.
And
Worry
just
about
keep
what.
moving.
Yeah, keep moving. Okay, so well, with the next running back, I'm out. Well, usually, I'm sorry. If Lacey were here, I'm sure. Well, no, she probably would have went with Mahomes. She loves Mahomes. He's the top quarterback on this week, are scheduled to start on the default this week. So she would go Mahomes. And with that, let me get this up there. Okay, Mahomes, and then I know Captain would go with Kelsey. That's the top tight end, and then he would knowing that there's two running backs out there, he probably likes the two running backs back there, but he probably uh yeah, he would go with Eckler. I think he'd pick the running back because I think there's a big drop off between Eckler and the last running back. But this is where strategy goes in, folks. So we want to tell people strategy in this. As you see, three running backs are off the board. So I'm not going to, of course, give Lacey a running back until her last pick because she's going to get the next available running back anyways, and she can get that with the last pick. So, we'll switch her to wide receiver and give her Justin Jefferson.
All right.
And it's back to you, Mr. 411.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do it. Tyreek Hill.
Hey, there you go. Those were the ones I wanted. Sniped big time, folks, by that. Um, well, hey, I'm gonna be I'm gonna practice. Well, no, because there's two tight ends, so I will get one of them. All right, I'm gonna get Josh Allen. I'm gonna go ahead and get my
Yeah.
second quarterback, and Josh Allen, and now I'm going to venture into the tight end situation, and I'm going to get Mark Andrews. I think Lamar Jackson comes back. I think Mark Andrews. I mean, the guy's not a scrub. So, matter of fact, Mark Andrews. If people listen to our show, Mr. Four, Mark Andrews won you back-to-back weeks earlier this season with a monster
Absolutely. Yeah.
performance. So I'm going to go with him. He's the number two. I think there's still a line after Kelsey and Andrews. So yes, I'm going to go with Mark Andrews.
All right. Okay. Is it back to me?
It's back to you, and you need a
All right.
quarterback and a tight end.
All right. Well, Josh Allen's off the board. Mahomes off the board.
That's why I had to take Allen because I think there's a drop off after Allen and Mahomes this
Yeah,
week.
it's getting kind
This
of
week at
dry
least,
out here.
especially with Jalen Hurts out. But
Yeah,
hey,
it's really
Mr.
dry.
401, Justin Herbert is available. So
He is, and he does
and
play
he plays Monday
Monday.
night.
Yeah, it would
I
be
was about to
interesting, wouldn't
say.
it?
I thought
I
I
can
could sell
pile
him
up
to
all
you on
kind of
Monday
points.
night.
Well, actually, you know what? I was leaning towards Burrow, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like Burrow, Joe Cool. But they're playing Belichick in over there in the with New England.
New
So
England.
I am gonna go with Justin Herbert.
Okay. Okay.
It's Monday. Why not?
That's right. And what's the chances of him having 2 duds in a row, right?
Exactly. We're gonna take a chance here. The Colts. Now the Colts have played time to time. They play well at home as well.
Mhm.
But look, they gave up 33 points last week, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go ahead and well, they gave up a 33-point lead, and
Mhm.
so if they can do that, then Herbert should definitely at least be able to go 2, 3 touchdowns this week.
Gotcha. And I just want to say, people, Darren Waller returned, and I don't know if a lot of people that went you know. I apologize for not saying that earlier, but Darren Waller's back, and that could contribute to Devontae Adams being out. But again, I think Devontae Adams is still, going to get through his thing this week. But that could have also contributed to Devontae Adams, and that's why I did not pick Devontae Adams as my wide receiver. That's why I skipped over him, because I think, well, I know now the wide receiver I want is going to be come back, because Lacey is going to go. She already has her wide receiver. We know she's going to get the running back because Captain can't draft a running back. So Lacey takes George Kittle.
Oh, that sucks.
So I'll just put Kittle on. And then Captain, he will close it out with he Justin Fields, as he is actually projected number 3 in our default ranking at quarterback. So he gets him, and he gets Devontae Adams. Yeah, let's see. He already had and Devontae Adams. And then the next running back for Lacey is McCaffrey. All right, Mr. 411.
Okay, give
You
me the
need a
tight
tight
end.
end. You
Give
need
me
a
the
tight
tight
end.
end for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, what's his name? That well, I'll
Oko.
just how do you spell that?
OKO.
OKO. I'll just put Tennessee tight end and spell it
Yeah, just
later.
give me OKO.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know it. Okay, gotcha. we'll just
Give me
just
okay.
just okay, gotcha. And my wide receiver, I'm going to do the double up. Stephon Diggs. He's had a quiet couple weeks, so hopefully he can break out of his funk this week. I really like his chances to break it out. And everybody who watches the show know I love the combo when I can get them. So there's our thing. If you go to our regular, yes, sir. If you go to the thing right here, I always keep a running record. We're past week 15. Lacey got 1. Our computer, well, no, I think she might have picked that team at that time. 4-1, 3. Yours truly got 6, and the default has 3. So still close. You guys have to make a run, Mister 411, if you want to catch me.
All right, that's what we have to do. And I'm trying to throw everything out there, throw the
Yeah, you
kitchen
did.
sink
Hey,
and everything, see what happens.
You did Deion Jackson. So yes, you were throwing things at the wall to see what sticks.
Absolutely. All right, right at the buzzer here, calculator. We're
Right
under
in
a
time.
minute to go before we get out of here, man.
That's right.
All right. Absolutely. So we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, hit that like button and subscribe to notification bell and share with your friends. Hit that like button, please. Do all those things. It helps the show. And I definitely appreciate it. Calculator,
Yeah, and
appreciate you being on for it.
hey, absolutely, and thanks for making the time for me for one. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you being flexible with me as well. But we got it done for the people, and that's what we do. We do it for the people, and happy shopping on the waiver wire, folks. As you gear up for your playoff run.
All right. Well, for the calculator, I'm Mr. 401. We thank everybody for tuning in. Have a good night.
Good night.